Hey folks, I'm Scott of Scotty's Gun Works. I thought I'd make another video today. This video here, we're going to take a double barrel. It's got a bad place in the stock. A piece of wood broke off of it. Thought I'd kind of walk us through that, show y'all how I'd fix that. I know in previous videos I've kind of went over some woodworking tips, replacing wood, broken pieces and stuff like that. This is going to consist of that. And we're going to put a finish on the stock, and then we're going to put a high polished blue on the metal. But anyway, we'll start the video and I'll kind of show you how I would do that. All right, here is the gun we're going to be refurbishing. You can see it's in kind of not bad shape. Definitely needs a new finish on it. Of course, it's a birch stock is what it is, and there's the place I'm talking about. See how much is gone. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flatten that out. Basically put a new piece of birch wood in there and then just shape it to the receiver, and I'm going to try to steeple that in there like that is. I don't know how well that'll turn out, but we'll try it and just kind of show us doing that. And then we're going to put a high polish on the barrels, and I don't know, that color case hardening still looks really good on that. Ain't no bad places in that. We might just leave that receiver alone. I don't know, I'll get with the customer and we'll just kind of make a decision on that. But yeah, all in all, the gun's in really good shape. That's our before picture of it. I'll take the stock off of it. That's probably one of the first things we get started on here. That way I can go and get all that shaped in how we want it and get that wood underway. All right, here we are in the little woodworking area. I done flattened that down. Basically what I did is I just took this right here and just kind of drawed it in flat. And I kind of fine-tuned it with a little sandpaper. So now I'm going to try to find me a good little piece of wood. And you can see kind of how that is. I just basically flatten that out, and then I'll just basically aqua glass a new piece of wood on that. Just kind of shape it in following the same contour. So there we are so far. I don't want to bore you by walking through every little detail here. I think everybody kind of sees what I did there. So let's see if we can find a nice piece of wood, put on that. Just kind of show you the different stages here. I got a nice piece of birch wood right here. And I'm going to just try to find the grain that matches closest to that. It's probably going to be, it's pretty much a straight grain. So hopefully I get it pretty close. And I'll just cut me out a section. I would show myself cutting it, but I ain't got no cameraman down here, so I ain't got my little camera holder right now. But anyway, just kind of explain to you what I'm going to be doing here. I'm just going to cut a nice section out, then we'll match it up with that little piece right there, and just keep whittling away at it till we get it fixed. All right, I believe I got a nice robust piece of wood cut out on there. It's a really big oversized piece. I like to do it that way, and the reason why is because I want to make sure there's plenty of wood there to work with. Of course, I'll have to get in here. First thing I will do, and I'll go over that too when we get ready to do it, is I'll cut the contour, and then my second thing is I'll cut the length, then I'll go ahead and cut the inside out for the inside of the receiver. Just want to make sure there's plenty of wood there. Try to do it right the first time. I'm going to go ahead now and mix up a little aqua glass, and we'll stick that on there. We'll start shaping it up after that sits up really good. I think I got the grain about right. I mean, it's hard to tell until you start cutting into it, but I think it looked good. All right, well, I've got it aqua glassed on there. Got it kind of level up in this holding vise here. Just basically want to make sure that it don't slowly slide on me, and then I come in tomorrow and it's done set up where I don't want it to be. So that's what's so handy about this contraption right here. But anyway, got it all leveled up. Plenty of aqua glass on that. So yeah, it's real important to have plenty of wood on that. I'd rather cut too much wood off than to find I didn't put enough on there, and then I have to take it all back off and do it again. But I believe everybody kind of sees what's going on here. So we'll just let that sit up, and then we'll start our shaping tomorrow. I'll give it a good 24 hours to set up. Several days later, it's had all weekend to dry. I think I did that Friday, so here we are Monday morning. We're gonna go ahead and start shaping that block out there. Everybody can kind of see how it looks. And I tell you folks, it's just nothing but common sense. So what I do is I just kind of position that like that, and I take a pencil and I just basically follow the contour there with a pencil. It's a little higher than the other side there because I want to go back and kind of fine tune it with sandpaper by hand. So what I'll do is I'll carry it over here to the bandsaw, and I'll just cut the biggest part of that off, keeping that level. And I'll try to hold the camera and kind of give you more of an idea of what I'm going to be doing here. But that's basically all it is, just common sense. Just hold that up flat so you can see nothing but the contour of that. Draw your little line, then go over to the bandsaw, and then just kind of cut the biggest part of that off. Then we'll fine tune it with the belt sander there, and we'll just keep chipping away at it until it looks like it never was broke off. Here we are over at the bandsaw. So basically, folks, what I'm going to do here, got the camera set up here, rigged up a holder for it, so we can maybe kind of show you what I'm doing here, which is all just common sense. Let's see. I got my line there, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure this is good and level, because I don't want to end up cutting too much off. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball that and kind of follow that line, cut the biggest part of that wood off right there. I mean, I could sand it off. It'd be no big deal either way, but it might help us a little bit. There we go, and I'm looking, and I've still got plenty of wood there to work down. So I'm going to go over to the belt sander, and we'll set the camera up, and I'll just kind of show you how to do that, which, like I said, it's all just common sense. We just want to make sure we don't take off too much wood. That's what that boils down to. But there we are so far, looking good. All right, here we are over here at the old belt sander. It's basically still kind of looking at my line there. That right there is my template. We don't want to go down no further than that. I want to go right down to it, but I want to make sure I got plenty of wood there to hand sand things, to fine tune it when we get it on the receiver. So anyway, keep it straight and level. This right here, keep that level. Wear your dust mask too. Yeah, that's working down. We won't get down no lower than that, obviously. Take your time with it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep cutting on that. And you got to take into accountability this little cutout right here. It's going to be, that right there is going to be just a little higher right here than that cutout. You know, because you got a receiver that's going to go in there, you know, and they'll kind of contour over it, I guess. But, yeah. Well, I'm going to cut the camera off, and I'm going to get my dust mask, and I'll go ahead and get that cut out, and we'll look at it, and we'll just keep chipping away at it till we get that fixed. I got this on here. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little of the wood off this side right here. Basically what you'll do is you'll just kind of put it up against like that right there, and you'll just get as close to that as you can, following the same contour of that original cut. I want to get in there too deep because we got checkering here, pressed in checkering. So, you know, if you hit that a little bit, ain't no big deal because I'm going to sand it anyway. But I just want to get most of that off to where when I do go to hand sand it, I ain't going to have a lot of time in that. But, you know, the main thing is don't get in a hurry and mess it up. So, anyway. What I always do is I'll take and kind of tilt in just a little bit. That way that's kind of flared out a little higher, you know, as I'm doing this. But I don't want to go in too far. In other words, I just want to make sure that we don't take too much off. Keep everything light. Probably at this point right here, we may go over to the other sander I have over there in the polishing room, the round one. And, you know, I'll just keep working that until I get that down, going real slow with it, till I get all this right here fitted how I want it. Then we'll cut that little groove in that, or I may go ahead and cut that off first and get that leveled up with that. But we'll just kind of play it all by ear. There ain't no real certain way to do it. Just have to kind of use common sense as you go. So anyway, we'll just keep working it. All right, I kind of moved over here and I put a little blue tape on that because I want to kind of do some hand sanding. I guess everybody can see that. So basically it just boils down to keeping everything straight, you know, and then when I start cutting into the blue tape, I'll know it's time to quit. So basically what I do is I just kind of keep everything even. It's going to take a little time to do it because a lot of this is hand sanding. Kind of showing these little different operations here to kind of give you an idea. I mean, there ain't no real certain way of doing it. You just have to make sure we don't take too much off at this point. It's quicker using the machine, but when you mess up, it ain't. I'll continue this operation right here until I get that flat, you know, on this one side here, and I'll contour it down, you know. You kind of get an idea there. I guess everybody can see that. Well, that's what I'll do. I'll just keep making sure I keep everything even and straight with that. Make sure I don't get into that. When I start cutting into the blue tape, I kind of tilted my sand block just a little bit. Didn't do anything to it though. But yeah, and then this contour that and just kind of round that off as I go. Just want to make sure I make it match this side right here. So anyway, probably a little bit of hand sanding going to be involved here. It's going to take us a little time. For the sake of the video, I don't want to video every minute of it. This video probably about 3 or 4 hours long because it will take some time to do this right. And you know, you'd rather take a little time doing it right than have to take it off and do it over. No big deal though if you do. All we do is just smooth it down again, glue another piece on it. So, but so far so good. We're trying to keep from having to do that. So the main thing here is just taking our time and looking at things. I'll cut the video off and I'll just keep sanding on it until we get it to where I want it, and then we'll show the video as I'm cutting this and on and on. All right, I thought I'd give you a little progress report. Things just clicking around just fine. You know, just hand sanding it real slow, and what I'm doing is I'm just basically making this side here match this side right here. And you know, if you take a little much off this side right here, they usually leave more than enough meat on this side or wood to, you know, make it match. So basically I'm just taking this block sander here and I'm just being real careful not to take too much off where I can't fix it. So I'm gonna go ahead and let there still up a little much. So I'll just keep sanding on that until I get that even with that side right there without cutting into it. So yeah, that's basically, you know, about an hour into it with a hand sander. Because I'm going slow, I'm using a 60 grit sandpaper, and you can kind of see, you know, what's going on there. Still up a little much, and that's good. I'm just kind of, you know, I'm going to keep doing that until I see the blue tape start withering away, and then I'll know I'm down to it. Yeah, you know, I don't want to bore you with continuing to sand as I video, because it's going to take, you know, several hours to do this right. So anyway, this is a little progress report there. So just keep working on it. All right, another little update here. Got a little sharp right there, which is good. Got more than enough there, so I'm gonna round that off there. I'm probably gonna wait till I get it on the receiver. But right here, I just kind of drawed me a line, contoured with this right here, and I just kind of got me a little saw here, and I'm just gonna ever so slightly cut that off. Got me a line on that side right there too. Probably won't show myself doing that, but that's how that is going to be done. I didn't start it on it. I just thought I'd kind of point that out. And then our last thing, of course, is going to be cut this channel out. We'll kind of go over that here in a little bit. But there we are so far. Looking good. I'll fine tune that with some finer sandpaper and kind of smooth that off around to where it matches that. I think everybody kind of gets the idea. Yeah, there we are so far. Alright, I think I done got this laid out here. As you can see, I've just cut this piece of wood out. What I did is basically just took these calibers here and just basically got my measurement, the highest part right here first, and then the lowest part. And I just made me some little marks, basically is all I did, and I just kind of connected the dots there. So, you know, instead of going over here and using the machine on that, I think I'm just going to stick with this right here. Just going to kind of cut it ever so slightly just before the line. Then I'll fine tune it with a little file and maybe some sandpaper, because I don't want to get that too big. You know, if you did, it ain't no real big deal. You can put aqua glass in there, you know, and then form it to it. But I'm going to try to make that as straight as I can. It usually works out pretty good with this. It's faster with a machine, but I have knocked big chunks out, you know, using that. It's always best just to take your time with it. That right there should do me a really good job. And I'll just straighten it out real good with a little block sander or something. So anyway, I probably won't show myself doing that. But yeah, so far so good. Everything's looking really nice. So, all right, there we are. Done got that part cut out using this little saw right here. Did a really good job. Of course, got to clean it up, you know. You can see how I just went right to the line there. So I'm gonna clean that up with a little block sander, and then I'll kind of take some material out in here. You know, just want to make sure that we don't, when I push that receiver in, I don't want to bust nothing. So I want to make sure we got plenty of clearance for everything, and I'll clean that little line up right there and clean that up in there with a Dremel tool or whatever it might take. But I think everybody sees the kind of gets the idea how I did that. Yeah, right up to the line there. That gives me plenty of room to work with. That way I can clean that up and should fit really good. So anyway, there we are so far. All right, folks, finally got it on there. Looks really good. Fitted great. You know, I left a little extra wood up here, and I'm fixing to trim that down. You can see how much higher that is on that side, on the new side. So what I'll do is I'll take my pencil and I'll kind of mark that. Usually I would fit that while it's on the receiver, but since how we're not going to do anything to the receiver, we're going to blue the barrels and all the other metal. That color case hardening looks really good, so I just don't want to take a chance and scratch that. So I'll just take my pencil and just kind of mark the high side there down to the receiver, We'll try to recut that pressed in checkering on this side. I'll clean it up real nice. But anyway, there we are so far. Looking really good. Yeah, there we are at that point. We'll just keep chipping away at it. Keep giving you updates. All right, here we are so far. I went on ahead and kind of took the old finish off. Everything's pretty much evening out now, looking really good. You can spot that obviously because it's a different piece of wood. It's birch. But by the time I put a little stain on it and try to fix them pressed in checkerings, you'll probably always be able to tell it, but definitely looks a lot better than it did. It's a little higher on this side right here, even from the original wood there, than it is over here. I may try to even that up a little bit, but yeah, all in all, it's looking really good. Everything's pretty much even. I'll put a stain on it, kind of blend it all in, the forearm and all. But there we are so far with the progress. I'll just kind of go over it again with a little more sandpaper, a little finer sandpaper, and try to match it up best I can on that other side. Yeah. I believe the customer will be happy with that. Belongs to a Mr. Brian Owens. When he comes to pick it up, if we hadn't went down to the editor yet, we'll probably include him in with the video here, get his opinion on it. But I'll go ahead and keep working on it a little bit, keep giving you updates. It's all pretty much common sense from here. Yeah, there we are so far. Just kind of fine tuning it with some sandpaper here. Again, you can kind of see that, but hopefully I can blend that checkering, pressed in checkering in. It ain't gonna probably look as good as that, but we're gonna try to make that, at least make the border look good and staple that in. Just kind of going over it with some fine sandpaper, getting all the little scratches out of it, because when I put that stain on there, you'll be able to see every little scratch, so you want to make sure it's pretty smooth. And I'll probably go ahead and sand this right here down along with that butt plate there. That way it'll pretty much be even with the stock. Right now it's the stock's a little bigger than the butt plate. I can feel the difference. You know, while we got it out, might as well go ahead and sand all that in and polish that. And of course, you know, I'll go back over with some stain here in a little bit, you know. Try to dress it up. You want a high polish on this. Well, I remember what it looked like. It broke off there, you know, so that's really all one can do other than getting another stock, which is the original one that was on there. It belonged to his dad, I believe, or granddad, but Mr. Brian Owens, he will probably be in the video here at the end of it. We'll find out the story behind this gun. But anyway, little progress report there, coming along really good. So. All right. What I had to do for that checkering or pressed in checker, basically it's stamped. I took a little punch here and I just kind of cut me out a little diamond shape on the end of it. I mean, really can't do much with that, to be honest with you. So anyway, of course that right there is the good side, we'll call it. And I put a little stain on it. You can see that, I mean, once I put the final finish on it, should blend in pretty good, but you'll always be able to see that. That's birch wood, just like this right here is. And you know, anytime you add another piece of wood to it, you can kind of see that. So what I'll probably do is I'll end up darkening all this right here up a little darker and just kind of fade it out lighter in this area right here. Just got the first coat on there, but yeah, I put that little diamond stamp on there. Basically the same size as them, and cut a little border. Like I said, you know, it's a stamped out pattern. Ain't a whole lot you can do with that. Once I darken that on the end, this is just first stage right here. Once I darken that on the end, it should blend in pretty decent. Obviously it's probably never going to look, you know, like that side right there because we got all the original wood in it, but I'll just kind of fade it in. I've just got the game, you know, is try to make it look like a maybe it was cut into a knot or something, you know. And unlike black walnut, you can usually blend it in pretty good. This birch wood here, you kind of have to work with it, and that's what we'll keep doing until we, you know, try to make it look as close to the original as we can. Definitely looks a whole lot better than it did, but anyway, that's a little progress report. We'll just keep working on it. All right, there it is with a good little coat of stain on it. Now let's keep doing that until everything blends in pretty good. Probably put it a little heavy on this side right here, you know, since we do have that extra piece of wood in there. And then when we put the true oil on it and fill in all the grain, and then put our polyurethane spray over it because he wants a high polish on that, it should look really good. All right, here we are the next day. I got the first coat of stain on it. You can see that it you can still spot that, and obviously you're going to be able to. Of course, right there's where the aqua glass is. That's gluing it to the wood there, and it's really stronger than the original grain. So ain't really a whole lot you can do about that. You can see the little diamonds I just stamped in there earlier, or yesterday rather. But anyway, I kind of wanted to bring this to your attention. You know, I say this birch wood here, anytime you put any kind of stain on a light wood, if you don't get all those little sanding marks out, I don't know if y'all can see them or not, but you can sure see them when you put stain on there. I don't know, let's see. I'll get the light over here. Well, anyway, there's some scratch marks right there where the sandpaper left them. If I'd have went that way with the grain, you probably wouldn't even notice them. But it's always better to get all them little sanded marks out before you put your stain on there. Of course, you know, me making a video is kind of an oversight, but it ain't no big deal. I'm going to take some 220 sandpaper, and I'm just going to sand them back out. Of course, it's going to lighten it up in that area, which is no big deal because I'm going to put several coats of stain on it anyway. Probably go ahead and do the forearm and do them both together. But yeah, I mean, it's looking really good. Once I darken that in and hopefully fade all that in with a darker stain in that area there, it'll just look like it's part of the grain of the wood. Kind of the idea anyway. And then we'll put true oil on it, you know, and tape these check-ins up so we can't, you know, so we won't fill them in with the true oil. And I'll put several coats of the oil on there, and we'll kind of go over that as we go in this video. Kind of a refresher course, I guess, because I got several videos now where I am doing true oil, but since this is from start to finish, might as well try to show it all. But yeah, turning out real good. I'll get them little light scratch marks out of that and put a just keep putting oil on it, or keep putting stain on it rather, until I get it to the tone I want it. Again, you'll probably always be able to tell that, but at least it's a whole lot better than it was. A whole lot cheaper than a new stock too, by the way. So anyway, just keep pushing forward with it. Looking good. All right, I got them little light scratches out. Of course, you can see that the wood's a lot lighter now in that area, and I expected that. No big deal, because I'm going to be putting stain over the whole thing anyway, and after I put several coats on it, it ought to even back out, you know. Of course, definitely want to keep it dark in this area right here, you know, to kind of blend all that in and just kind of, you know, maybe cover that up, make it look like it's just a dark spot in the wood, basically. But yeah, everything's turned out real good. Now, on this right here, I want to point out, and of course, you know, it's got these little old pieces of wood here protruding out on all of them right there. Now I didn't bother to put it on this one right here, because what I'm going to do is I always like to set my receiver of the stock down into a bed of aqua glass. You know what I'll do is I'll put some aqua glass on this right here, on all four of them sides there, some back here, and put some releasing agent on the receiver because we don't want it to glue on there. And then I will put the screw up in there and I'll tighten it up. And then what I'll do is let that set up, which I'll, you know, have that releasing agent on the metal of the receiver, so I ain't got to worry about sanding over that. It'll just peel off. And the only place it'll be really stuck is right in here, and that's what we want. But I'll probably put a little hole right there and fill out with aqua glass. Might even put a little wooden peg in there, but really it ain't no big deal on that. The reason why I like to put the aqua glass between the receiver and the wood is because what had happened at the factory is this right here was protruding out just a little much. In other words, every time you'd shoot it, that right there would take the impact. Now I believe I got it down even anyway, but we want to put the law of geometry on our side. So if you put that little band of aqua glass around there, any low spots that may be there will pretty much even out now. And plus it'll act as a gasket, I guess, for the wood. You know, a lot of times people over oil their gun, they'll set it up in the corner, and that wood will act as a wick, and it'll just wick oil in there, you know, through the years. It might take a long time to do it, but it'll soften up the wood. So a lot of times I'll do that. I'll put a little bit of aqua glass in there to kind of make a little gasket, kind of put the law of geometry on our side. That way the impact will be even on all four of them corners. That's basically what we'll be doing on that. That way, hopefully, in the future, we won't have to worry about that busting out again or any other piece busting out. I think this is a 12 gauge, if I ain't mistaken, and it's got a little bit of a kick to it. But yeah, we'll strengthen that up, and just kind of wanted to explain that. And then what we'll do is we're going to go over here to the in the polishing room, and of course I got a video. I hadn't even got it on the YouTube channel yet, where I'm polishing the finish off of the wood, and I've done that in other videos as well, so everybody kind of knows what I'm talking about. But anyway, I'll make another little video how I'm polishing the finish off of that with the polishing wheel. A whole lot easier and faster than using sandpaper. Of course, I'll bring it over here and fine tune it with sandpaper, you know. But anyway, we'll take the finish off the forearm. I'll kind of show you how I would do that. Yeah. Little diamonds in that. You can kind of see that, I guess. Like I said, I mean, it ain't perfect, but it's something that nobody really look at again. I mean, in other words, you ain't gonna really study that, I don't guess, in most cases. The owner probably will, because he knows what I did there. You all probably will if you see this gun in person, but most time, you know, you just kind of, you know, overlook that. That's a pressed-in checker, and by the time I darken that in and fade all that in, it should be pretty much unnoticeable, hopefully, but it'll look good either way. So anyway, we'll go over here to the polishing area, and I'll kind of show you how I'm going to take the finish off. Then we'll come over here and put some more stain on this, put some stain on the forearm, and just keep pushing forward with it. And we'll start polishing the barrels. All right, here we are in the polishing room. I hope everybody can see that. I kind of got the camera set up where I hope you can see that. Anyway, basically this is all comments. I got a 140 polishing wheel on there. Just put some on there. Have to make sure it's good and dry. So basically, of course, I usually have the fan on. I don't have it on right now because, you know, for the sake of the video. I'd recommend, you know, wearing a dust mask at least. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take this finish off. Kind of show you how I do that. Show you how easy it is. Sometimes I put acid in these right here, but I don't think it's necessary in this particular situation. But yeah, just basically like you would metal, like if you're polishing metal. How easy that just comes right off. And you can use sandpaper, and I'm just going to fine tune it with sandpaper, but this will take the finish off. Take a little bit of time, and you don't have them deep scratch marks like you have with sandpaper either. Of course, you know, if you stay in one spot too long, what you'll end up having is you'll dip your wood out like you would metal. But you don't want to stay in one spot too long. Just going to kind of move it around. Go real light over the checkers, you know. Careful not to funnel out the holes and stuff like that. I got a video, a new one I'm gonna put up on YouTube where I'm doing this. Kind of goes into a little more detail. Probably put it up on YouTube when we put this one up, but keep it light. I think what they do at the factory, with the birch stock especially, they'll take it's like I guess the best way to describe it, it's like a paint, I guess, that you can see through, like a brown paint in this particular situation, and what they'll do is they'll, spray it with that, and that way you got the best of both worlds. You got the dark color, and then when it dries, it's finished. I don't have anything like that. I always have to hand stain my stuff and then kind of go over it with true oil, and then I'll put a clear polyurethane on it. Used to be able to get that polyurethane stain in it. I haven't been able to get any. You can get it in a little can, but I like the spray can. It's just a lot thinner, and I can put it in my spray gun. I have used the polyurethane out of the can, put a little mineral spirits in it, thin it down a little bit, and it works pretty good, but I like the can where I can just spray it into my spray gun. That way I don't have to worry about it going bad on me. It'll sit in there for years. I got a video where I'm actually explaining that. I'll just take it over there at the sanding table, and I'll just kind of fine tune that. Some sandpaper. I think everybody gets the idea. We'll fine tune that and put some stain on that, and then we'll start our true oil process. Alright, here we are back over here in the little sanding area here. I've went on ahead and fine-tuned this with sandpaper, just kind of buffing over now with a little steel wool. Got all the little scratch marks out of it that I made with the sandpaper, but it's pretty smooth now. I think it's ready now for a little stain to be put on it. We'll do that. We'll do the stock, and we'll just keep putting stain on it until we get it to the tone that we want it. But yeah, turned out really nice. Get over here where the wood don't reflect the light so much. You can see the fine grain in there. It's got a pretty grain pattern. That should that stain should make that really pop. I'll go ahead and put the stain on it, and we'll just keep moving forward with it. But yeah, it turned out really nice. So. Alright, quick update here. Just kind of working on the barrels now. Got one side pretty shiny. Fingerprints all over it. Kind of got it up here. Doing a little block sanding. Kind of getting all the bad places out of it. Basically, all what it boils down to is just taking a block sander. And I'm already up to 600 grit sandpaper. And you've seen on the previous videos how I just kind of block sand it like that until it gets real shiny. I didn't bother to show myself doing that, but I got other videos where I'm actually doing that. But anyway, it's turning out real nice. What I'll do is I will get that high shine on there with the block sander, and then I'll go over to the wheel and I will polish it with a 555. And of course we'll show you the after result. And I want to point this out too. This being a double barrel, I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but this one here can be blued in the bluing salts, hot bluing, because this one is silver soldered. don't know if you can see that little line in there or not, but it's kind of got a yellowish color. And when you can see that yellowish color, then that's a good indication that it's silver soldered. And plus it's got the little hole right here, and all that's silver soldered. It's kind of a goldish color. It's in there too, but you can hardly see that, but it's there. And that just shows it can be hot blued in the bluing tanks. So I'll just keep working on this until I get it looking like chrome on both sides, and then we'll be ready to put that in the bluing tanks, and it'll look like black chrome when it's all said and done. And I'll do the other components, trigger guard, barrel release lever, you know, all the other metal pieces, and we'll leave the receiver alone because it's got that color case hardened on it. Looks really nice. But anyway, making progress on it. There we are so far. All right, here we are in the drying room. Of course, here's our stock here. Just kind of got it hanging here. And there's the side we fixed. I did put a little more stain on. Kind of what I'm trying to do is I'm kind of trying to darken it in to where it'll feather off, kind of dark and get lighter as it goes on back. Of course, you can see right there, that left side there, the new piece. Of course, there's that side right there. And of course, as that dries, I'll feather it off with a little steel wool and I'll kind of lighten it up and then add some more stain to it. But yeah, I think everybody gets the idea of what I'm trying to do there. Just want to darken it up on that end, on that one side there, and then as that dries, that should get darker. And of course, there's our forearm. It's still a little light, but I'll put another coat or two on that and kind of darken it up, keep them both even. Of course, you want a real high shine on that. And there's a finished stock right there. It's got a real high shine on it. I put on it. Got a little oil on it, but it just wants that real shiny finish like this one right here's got on it. And there's waiting on me to get the gun blued. There's another one that's finished. And his will look like that as well. Real high shine. I think everybody can see that. Just kind of got them hanging in here waiting on bluing day where I can get those guns blued and get them back together. Several more in here that I'm putting oil on. This here's a standard finish. Not near as shiny, but that's what he wanted. So anyway, just kind of want to give a little update on that. And I guess we'll get in here now and finish polishing up the metal for this shotgun. All right, here we are now back in the polishing room here, and just kind of want to give an update. I've kind of finally got this polished down. I'm gonna go over here now and hit it with a 555 wheel over here. Just kind of want to give a little update there and let everybody see how shiny that's turning out. Just basically went over with the sandpaper. Really, truthfully, all you need is sandpaper. You don't even really need them wheels. I just got them, and they definitely help. Now I'll just kind of go over it now and just kind of fine tune it, and that'll bring it just a little bit brighter. But yeah, I think it's going to turn out real nice. So anyway, I just kind of want to give everybody a little update on that. Didn't really waste a lot of time, you know, showing everybody the painful process, because it does take a lot of time to do one of these. But I think everybody kind of gets the idea. I just basically start out with sandpaper and just keep working your way up until it gets shiny, basically. And if you have little bad spots in it, you just take your sanding block and kind of erase it, you know, feather it out, kind of. So yeah, we'll have this thing ready to blue in no time. Okay, here we are the next day. I brought everything back out here, and I think I put another coat of stain on it since the last time we talked. And you can still spot that, but it's definitely blending in a lot better than it was. Yeah, you'll always be able to see that, but I may go ahead and put another coat of stain on that, to, you know, especially up in that area right there. But by the time I put the true oil on it and then put the spray over it, it should, you know, be one of them things kind of that you probably wouldn't even think about. You might spot it, but you might not even give it no thought. kind of the idea there. But then we got the farm over here. It's darkening up nice. I think looking good about that. So what I'll do is I'll probably buff over with some 00 steel wool. And that's going to lighten it up a little bit. And then I'll put another coat of that stain on it. Then we'll probably be ready to tape up our checkerings with some blue tape, if we don't want to fill them in with the true oil. And go ahead and fill what little bit of grain is open. Fill it in. Little areas right in there. You know, just fill that in where it'll be smooth as a touch. And then we'll spray it with polyurethane. He wants a high shine on that. So we'll do that. After, I don't know, a few days, it should be ready for the gun. Then I'll be ready to blue the metal and put it back together. Call the customer and get his opinion on it. That's where we're at so far. All right, folks, before we go any further, what I thought I'd do is I'd go ahead and put me some releasing agent on the back of the receiver here, because I'm going to go ahead and put that aqua glass on there and put the stock on. Remember me telling you, I hope everybody can see that. But I'm just going to take some of this paste finishing wax, and Brian Owens sells a releasing agent. But I run out of that, so this right here is always a good thing to use. I'll show how I'm putting it on there, and then we'll marry the stock to the receiver here, basically. Well, another little tip here that might help you out too is I always get these old catalogs here, and they make great vise pads. You just take your bandsaw and cut them off, and you know, that way you always got a fresh page without any grit or anything on it. But yeah, that's probably another video. But anyway, what I'm going to do here is, hopefully y'all can see this on the camera. I'll try to speak up. Oh yeah, let the ground catch that. But basically, folks, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this little brush right here. I think I'm in the frame. Load it up real good with this paste wax. I just want to make sure that I coat everything real good in here with this. Because the last thing you want is for that to glue onto the receiver. And I've explained, you know, the reason why I like to do this is to put the law of geometry on our side. In other words, I want to make sure that whenever the gun is fired, that you got the same amount of force being distributed equally around that area right there where the stock's going to go. It's no big issue. It just, you know, it ain't gonna hurt that color case hardening either, so that's good. I know I'm kind of overkilling this because I'm not gonna put just a little bit on here, but I just want to make sure that we don't have any problems getting that loose. And you want to make sure you just put just enough of that aqua glass on there, because if you put too much, what'll happen is it'll ooze out on the inside, and then when it sets up, you got to pull that stock off, and it wants to catch. I think everybody understands what I mean. And it'll cause the stock to spread out to get past that, and it'll liable to bust it. So yeah, don't want to put too much of that aqua glass on it where it starts oozing, which that's a gel, so I can control that really good. Really good stuff. Get it from Brian Owens. After I get that on there, I'll just wipe that real good. But we'll stick that back into this. I don't even know if it's necessary or not, because it's pretty clean in there. Yeah, just want something to kind of hold that. All right, our next step. Make sure our hands are good and clean. Take our stock here. It's the broken side, it was. And what we want to do, I went ahead and made up some aqua glass. There it is right there. And you kind of want to use it sparingly. Just put, you know, a little bit on this end right here. Again, it won't take much because it's pretty even anyway. I like to put it on both sides. Being careful not to get it down inside your chicken. Won't take just a little bit because it's pretty even. And so basically I'm just kind of putting the law of geometry on our side. I always like to go and put just a little bit here on the inside, you know, where the back of the tang hits whenever the gun's fired. That way it'll absorb a lot of that force. Pretty simple procedure. Then I've got screw here. I always want to make sure, especially since you put some back there. I did put some in the threads inside that screw hole, but we'll put some on this right here too. That way if any oozing or anything occurs, we'll be able to get the screw out of it. This big long fine screwdriver, I guess I should have went with the other one, but I think we'll be able to achieve what we want. Let's see. And you got about 2 hours to do this because that stuff ain't gonna set up no time soon. So that's one of the good things about the aqua glass I like. It ain't like the liquid aqua glass where you just poured it in and you only had like 5 minutes. Well, there we go, I think. There we go. Make sure you hold it, don't underestimate it. You don't want it to drop off on the floor. Cause more work. Just kind of snug it down. It ain't even got to be super tight. Snug everything down real good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of look and make sure everything's good and even, and it is. And here, so I don't have to do any sanding, I'm going to walk over here and get me a paper towel. There's one right here. I'm going to go ahead and wipe it off. Might as well clean it up right now. That way when it dries and sets up, all I gotta do is just pull it loose. Like I said, most of the time I would probably just leave that all on there and sand it. Just depends on the situation. But since I don't want to sand that receiver because of the color case hardening, we'll go ahead and clean it up right now. Like I said, just a little seal is all I'm doing here when I do this. I still got several little coats of stain I want to put on this. I know I got me a good seal because I put it on there real good, so if anything is on the inside a little bit. Hope I didn't hide that when I was trying to wipe all that off there. I hope I'm still in the frame. If I did, I apologize because I ain't got no cameraman down here. So, and if I did leave a little of that aqua glass on there, I'll just take a little bit of mineral spirits and clean it up, you know, after it dries. But yeah, shouldn't have no problems with that. Everything looks good. Everything's good and tight. And that should put the law of geometry on our side when it's fired. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of set it up ever so slightly right there. Let that set up and dry. Put all my stuff away. I apologize for the mess. Just get so engulfed in the work. I just need to have me a good cleaning day, I guess. But anyway, so anyway, we'll let that set up. we'll go ahead and put some more stain on it as we go, and then we'll start our true oil process and just keep chipping away at it. All right, I want to kind of explain this aqua glass, and I probably did in other videos. It comes in little jars like this right here. You know, you got a hardening agent, and you got the gel itself, aqua glass gel, and that's the aqua glass. Well, they're both aqua glass. One of them's resin, and the other one is the hardener. And you want to mix them in equal parts. I kind of got me a little system set up here, you know. That little dab we just did, I just kind of put it on this little piece of glass here, as you can see, mix it up, put a little coloring in it. Got brown color in here that I put in it. I got all mine in these little packets. Keep them in these little jars here to keep everything sealed up. That way, you know, they'll last for decades. But and of course, these are here. Can't even see the labels because they're just so dirty. But this is coloring as well. You know, when you order this, you can get a little kit. Oh, let's see. Here's what the kit will look like. Get it from Brian Owens, where I get mine. And you know, it comes with everything you need. It's basically for glass bed and rifle stocks, you know. But that's kind of what the kit would look like. Oh man, if you get a busted, well, you've seen how I basically attached that piece of wood onto the top of that stock, and that's what I use. But that's kind of what the kit would look like. Of course, I got it all sealed up in here, and there's what I do is after I empty them little jars, I just, you know, spoon out another jar full in each one of them. I keep it sealed up here, and when that stuff, it'll kind of get real thick, and you won't be able to hardly do anything with it. So what I do is I just stick it in the microwave, stick a jar of that, a big tub of that in the microwave for about 20 seconds, and it loosens up real nice to where I can spoon it out and put it in them jars. That's how I do it. I just bought this stuff back during the COVID era, because I thought, well, heck, I better get plenty of it because I don't want to run out and then not be able to get it. So besides that, that's all they had at the time. And I bought a couple of big tubs of it, and here it is 2025, and I still got plenty of it. I've used it quite a bit. But yeah, when you get your kit, you'll get it in these little jars right here, and I just keep everything in this ammo can here, keep it sealed up, you know, and keep the dirt out of it and stuff. But I wanted to kind of explain that. And then you get this releasing agent from Brian Owens. Got a little bit of that in there, but I like the spray releasing agent. They got it too. It's like about $30 a can. But if you don't want to spend $30 for that, then you got this here you can use. It's a paste wax, and it does really good as well. But if I'm going to do a whole rifle, what I probably do is I'd probably go ahead and, you know, get the spray. As a matter of fact, I'm going to order some more of that because I like it much better. It just covers everything, and you definitely want to make sure you get all your metal covered. But you don't want to stick to the wood, because once it sticks on there, there's just hardly no way to get that off. But there's my camera holder. But I just want to take a minute to kind of explain that. In our situation, we just kind of basically wanted to make a little seal and put the law geometry on our side. That way, hopefully we won't have any more problems with any cracking on that stock. So anyway. All right, here we are 24 hours later. I'm just going to take that loose. It shouldn't be no real big deal. I just want to point this out. Here's the mixing stick that I used. Hope everybody can see that. And what I like to do is I just like to set that aside, and then the next day just see how well it's set up. You know, because if you don't mix it pretty much in equal parts, it'll be kind of spongy. But yeah, that's set up really good. It's just like plastic. So yeah, that's how much I had left. I mixed a little much on, a little too much, but that's okay. Better have too much here than not enough. But anyway, let's see if we can't get this broke loose. Shorter screwdriver today. Take a second to find the screw head. You want to make sure, folks, that you get that screwdriver in the screw head, because if you're not careful, what you'll do is you'll think you got it in the slot, and then you'll turn this and it'll bust your wood. There it goes. Yeah, because it'll be down in beside the screw head in the wood there, and when you turn it, it just kind of pushes the wood apart. So you don't want to do that. I believe that's loose. Oh yeah, it did real good. Now see, we got us a nice little bond there, a little gasket, I guess, built up. I can kind of see the low spots, which I'll clean that up, and then we'll go ahead and start putting some more stain on that. I'll clean that receiver up, obviously, and set that aside. And but yeah, looking really good. So there we are so far. All right, here we are. I didn't put the first coat of True Oil on this. It's sun dried. I did that yesterday, and you know, you can still spot that. I don't know if we're gonna make it disappear like I wanted to. You'll always probably be able to see that. I think what I'll do is I'm gonna put the blue tape over all this right here, and then I'm gonna buff it down with some 00 steel wool, and then what I'm going to do is put another coat of True Oil on it. I'm gonna keep doing it till I get a nice smooth texture, you know, ready for spray. Put the last coat of polyurethane on it, which will be a high shine. But what I'm going to do is, I think before I put that polyurethane on there, I'm going to do a little research, because I got some airbrushes, and I may try to blend that in with some brown. You know, I know the research I've done, these factories, when it comes to a birch stock, what they'll do is, and I think I've explained it earlier, is they'll get like a see-through brown polyurethane. It'll have be brown in color. It'll have stain in it, the way I understand it. And they darken it up, and you can see through it And what they do is it basically just paints it the color they want it, but yet you can still see the grain through it. Looks good. So I'm gonna see what I can come up with, and maybe just try to do that in that area right there. Maybe do the whole stop, but I think right in that area right there, you know, to kind of maybe blend that in a little more. I may try to do that. I kind of want to give everybody a little update there. There it is so far with the first coat of True Oil on it. Like I said, I'm going to put some blue tape on these because I don't want them to get filled in. And yeah, you can still see that. You know, the stain will only make it so dark. So that's why I think it's a good idea, you know, to get some polyurethane that's already got the stain in it and just spray in these areas right here. I used to be able to get the polyurethane in the spray can, and I hadn't been able to find it. But I know I can get it in the little can that's got the coloring already in it. You know, it's polyurethane with a brown stain, a walnut stain. And you know, I could do the whole stock that way, but I think I'm just going to focus on that area right there before I get ready to put the final coat of polyurethane on it, and then just buff it all in. You know, kind of blend it in a little bit with that airbrush. And then after I put my final coat of polyurethane on, which will be the high shine, I think it'll probably blend in a whole lot better if we do something like that. So anyway, I'll go ahead and put the blue tape on that and put another coat of polyurethane on that by hand, or not polyurethane, but True Oil by hand, and we'll keep repeating that process until the day we get ready to put the final spray on it. So anyway, a little update. Here's that stuff I was talking about. I just happened to look over and spot it. See if y'all can see that. Anyway, what I'll probably do is put some of that in an airbrush, or maybe just take a little paintbrush and kind of, you know, blend it in real good. Let that dry real good. Maybe do a coat or two of that on there, buff it in, and put some more True Oil over it, and then put the final spray on it. But yeah, that right there's already got the stain in it. That's a poly. It's the poly in one step, it says. So it's got the stain in it. That's an antique walnut. And you know, sometimes it's funny because you can add a piece of wood on that, same birch piece and everything. And I don't know what it is, but sometimes it'll blend in the same color, but sometimes it'll go darker. And the object of the game is to try to make everything pretty much match in this area, to where it looks like, you know, a dark place in the wood, instead of just, oh yeah, that's a piece that's been added, you know, which I'm sure no matter how we slice it and dice it, you're always going to be able to spot that, like I said before. But just trying to make sure we get all the good information out there. But yeah, we're going to try that in that area there on our last final coats before we put our high shine on it. But yeah, that right there should work. All right, here we are on bluing day. That's what we have to blue today. Got a little bit of a stack of them right there, about 8 racks full. And then we got the star of the show right here, the double barrel. Got it soaking in a tub of simple green. I'll let it soak in there for about 45 minutes, usually about 30 minutes, you know, in between bluing runs, 30 minutes a run. But yeah, I got it in simple green right there. And then what I'll do is I'll take it out of the simple green, come into the cold water rinse. Then I'll go into the 909 for about 10 minutes, and out of that, back into the cold water rinse, and then into the bluing tank. That's how that usually works. Right now, we're just getting it woke up. Kind of breaking up the bluing salts. Got my safety gear on. Yeah, just getting ready to light it up. Of course, it'll heat up for about 45 minutes to an hour before I'm even ready to put the double barrel in there. But yeah, that's where we're at so far, just getting the day started. Kind of give you updates as we go. All right, we kind of got things heated up a little bit, got the fire going. Everything's still kind of hurry up and wait kind of thing. Kind of got them salts broke up. It's important to make sure you get them salts broke up before you light it up. Things starting to liquefy real nice. Getting it up to the operating temperature. For Mr. Brian Owens, I think we'll call this video the restoration of Brian Owens double barrel shotgun. Got it over here soaking in the simple green. You know, I really do appreciate everybody, you know, letting me do this work for them and watching these videos. I just got to give God all the glory. I mean, anything I've ever done good, I just got to give God all the glory. I mean, it's just that simple. I believe the Lord's got something for us all to do, and you know, I think this is kind of my calling to be a craftsman, and I sure do appreciate the privilege to do this. But yeah, at the end of the day, it all boils down to the Lord. Do a job as though you're doing it for the Lord. That's what that all boils down to. These videos here are kind of learning videos. Just kind of try to tell people the way I see things and believe, and at the end of the day, that's what that all boils down to. We all got to make a little money. We all got to pay taxes. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It says in the Bible to pay Caesar his part. Sometimes we wonder, well, I wonder how much Caesar's part is. But that's okay. The Lord said do it. That's good enough for me. So anyway, sitting here just kind of killing some time here, waiting on this stuff to heat up. This is kind of the procedure of bluing day. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour to get this stuff ready to go. And meanwhile, what I'm doing is I'm just letting that soak in that simple green. Again, I told you, got that WD-40 on there, so I want to make sure we get all traces of that off. That simple green does a good job, and of course we'll rinse it all off in this water tank here that it's going to be flowing. Then after that, we'll go into this right here, which is our 909, and it'll be heated up as well. I'll leave it in there for about 10 minutes. Then out of that, rinse it off in the water, cold water tank there. And then out of that, into the bluing tank for 30 minutes. Meanwhile, while that's sitting in there for 30 minutes bluing, I'll get another one of them and put it over here. So it'll sit in there for at least 30 minutes. Give it a chance to cut that WD-40 that's on these guns. Just make good and sure they're good and clean. What that boils down to. But anyway, sit here and relax and wait for things to heat up, and we'll just keep updating it as it goes. Alright, another quick update. I went on ahead and put the double barrels in this 909, then rinsed everything off. We'll let that sit in there for about 10 minutes, then out of that, into the cold water rinse again, then out of the cold water rinse into the bluing for 30 minutes. And of course, after the bluing, we'll put it in the hot water boiling tank for about 10 minutes, boil out any bluing salts that may be left behind. So there's our progress so far. Finally got it heated up. See that foaming look? That means it's just about right. We're right up to the little black square on our thermometer. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's ready to go. I'll point this out. There's our operating temperature for the 909. Hope y'all can see that. I got a little mark there at all, but it don't need to go really above that at all. So I'll end up cutting the fire off, and it'll maintain there until this little operation here is over. For those of you who are gluing your own guns, I'm sure, or want to learn anyway, that right there would be the operating temperature for the 909. And I'll point this right here out as well. I got timers set up right here. There's the 909. We got about almost 5 minutes left in it. Then I got the hot water boil for 10 minutes. Then when I put it in the blue, and I'll have it in for 30 minutes. So I got separate timers for everything. Kind of helped me to keep up with everything. Of course, I then took one of them right there out of the off the rack. I put it over here in the simple green, and it'll sit in there for 30 minutes. I think I've explained that, but kind of going over it 2 or 3 times. That way everybody will understand what I'm doing here in case you're doing this for yourself. Simple green makes a great degreaser to get that WD-40 off. Just want to make sure your metal is super clean. And anyway, there's our operation so far. Got about another 5 minutes or so on this on these doubles. Then again, into the cold water rinse, then into the bluing. Okay, now we're in the bluing tank. Hasn't been in there very long at all. Got the timer already set. Been in there a couple of minutes. Let's see what it's looking like. Oh yeah, already starting to turn black on it. That's good. That's a good thing. But yeah, we'll give it about 15 minutes, and I'll take it out and put it over here in this rinse tank and check for any blemishes, and you know, kind of move it around a little bit. Then I'll take it back out of this cold water rinse and put it back in the bluing tank for another 15 minutes. Total about 30 minutes, give or take. At least 30 minutes. And that way I ain't got no little stripes on the bottom of the barrel where it's been sitting on the racks. I think I've explained that before in other videos, but yeah, that's just a extra step I like to take to just make sure we hadn't got any little blemishes, you know, in it. There we are so far. All right, got the double barrels in the boiler. It's a little hot right now, I can't raise it up, but what I did is I come out of the bluing salts into the cold water rinse, check for any kind of, you know, blemishes. If there was any blemishes on it, I'd put it back into the bluing tank, but didn't have any. So I come out of the cold water rinse into the boiler tank, so it'll boil away for about 10 minutes. Then out of that, it'll go into the water displacing oil over here. And I'll usually leave it in there for at least 30 minutes or so. And then after that, I'll put it up on the rack to continue to cure. All right, and put it over here in the water displacing oil. Oh yeah, looks really good. Pull it up there, everything, look at it. Yeah, turned out real nice. We'll just let it sit there and kind of soak for a little while. Get ready for the next one I'm going to put in there. Of course, the star of the show here is the double barrel, so we'll just keep following the progress on that. All right, here we are at the end of another bluing day. About 7 hours later, I moved all the guns in here back into this box right here. I usually like to move them in here. I used to just leave them in there in the bluing room until I got ready to reassemble them, but thought, you know what, I'm just going to move them all back in here. Of course, this is the star of the show right here, the double barrel. Got oil all over it, but anyway, probably the next time you see that, I'll have that all put together, and maybe we'll even have the customer down here to give us his opinion on it. All right, I got the barrels on it. Don't have the stock or anything on it. The wood's not ready yet. Turning out really nice, got oil on it, but yeah, I think everybody can see how that's looking. It's looking really good. I'm really pleased with it. So I'll tell you what we're going to have to do now. I got this thing here's made out of aluminum. It's a little safety button that goes back here in the back, And of course you can't blue that because it's made out of aluminum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and clean that up real good, and I'm going to powder coat that. They don't even put it on there like that right there. You can tell it's missing some of the color in areas, so I'm going to go ahead and powder coat that, and we'll have the gun put back together, all but the wood. And there it is so far. Alright folks, here we are back here in the area where we're going to do the powder coating. Cut this fan off here. There we go, maybe you can hear me a little bit better there. But anyway, we're fixing to powder coat that safety button for the double barrel Stevens 311. Just thought I'd come in here and kind of go over it with you, since this is kind of a learning video showing people how I do things. What I'm using here is I get my powder coating supplies from Eastwood. Basically what you do is you got a little electronic thing you stick on there and put a little electricity through it, and I'll just kind of demonstrate how that's done there. Just basically just kind of put a light, the electricity draws it to it. Just put a light coat of that on there. Don't want to put it on there too thick, just let it get fully covered. This is a shiny powder coat. So it looks like that right there. Of course it's dull right now because we hadn't put it in the oven yet. And what we'll do is we'll put it in the oven at 450 degrees for 5 minutes, and then another 20 minutes at 400 degrees. Then we take that out of there and it'll look like real shiny. It'll be a real shiny black. So we'll go over to the oven, we'll put it in there, and we'll look at the finished results here in a few. All right, there it is, folks. Got a nice shiny finish to it. We'll go in here and we'll install that onto the shotgun. We'll have the gun ready to go, all but the wood. As soon as it gets finished, we will put it all together. Got a little bad spot there in the aluminum there. I don't know if y'all can see that or not there, lower left, but really ain't much you can do with that. But all in all, it turned out real good. I think it'll really go well with the takedown lever, because it's a high polished blue on it. So yeah, I think it'll look great. Alright folks, I'm back in the office. And what I did is I went on ahead and put our safety button back on. Looks really good with that takedown lever there. I think everybody can kind of see that. Works great. Just waiting on the wood to get done now. Still like a little ways on that. And what I usually do on products that I'm not completely finished yet, I usually just put them in here in the office, kind of keep the dust off of them until the day I get the wood done. In this case here, that's what we're going to do. Mr. Brian Owens, the owner of the gun, will come in and pick it up, obviously, and he'll probably give us his opinion on it. But yes, turned out really good. I believe he'll be pleased with it. I'll just set that right back over here. So what I thought I'd do to kind of make the video a little more interesting, sometimes they get a little on the boring side, but I thought, well, you know what, since we're in the office and I've got some finished products here, maybe I'll kind of show them and maybe explain what I did to them, you know, kind of make the video a little more interesting, kind of let you know, some differences here between, you know, a standard finish, a high polish, you know, things like that. So what we'll do is we'll start it off by showing this one right here. This right here is an old shotgun. Belonged to the gentleman's granddad, I think he said. But anyway, he wanted a high polish on the wood. So I kind of put it back as close to original as I could. Probably didn't look as good right out of the box, but anyway, I nickel plated the receiver on it, as you can see. This is a Nitro Washington. Put a high polish on the bluing, high polish on the wood. Had a busted spot out up here. I put him a new piece of wood in that. He said he didn't want to go crazy with put a lot of money in it, so I just put a little aqua glass right in there to kind of fill that. But yeah, it turned out real good, and just kind of wanted it serviceable again. But anyway, there's that one, old single shot shotgun. Pretty old gun. I think I even went as far as put a neat butt plate on it. This one right here, I'm waiting on wood on this one too. You know, the ideal thing is to do the stock and the forearm, and the ideal hope is that you'll get them both done at the same time. Sometimes it don't work out that way. Still like a few more coats of oil to put on the stock. I mean, I sprayed it, looked at it, just had too many open grains in it, so I didn't like that. So anyway, I went ahead and put it together because I already had the forearm ready. He wanted a high polish on the wood and a high polish on the bluing. Got oil on it, but I think everybody can kind of see that. And yeah, what I was going to say is, like for instance, you'll notice I got it matte up here at the top and around the bottom. And basically what I've done is I put a real mirror shine on it when I polished it. And then I just taped everything off and sandblasted the parts I wanted to have that dull look to it. And that's basically how that works, you know. If you want a matte finish, you'll sandblast it and then blue it. If you want a high polish, you'll shine it, polish it out like a mirror, and then you'll blue it. If you want a standard finish, you'll just, you know, go with like a 140 grit, which won't be shiny, but it won't be dull. But yeah, this here's an old Marlin 336, chambered in 44 Magnum. As soon as I get that wood done, we'll put that on there, and I'll remount the scope, and we'll have a done deal. But there it is. Put it over here until I get the wood done. Let's see. Here's one right here. This right here is an old bolt action shotgun. It was in really rough shape. Of course, it belonged to Granddad, and he wanted to fix it up like a trophy. I went on ahead and jeweled the bolt on this one. Of course, it didn't come factory with a jeweled bolt, nor did it come factory with that real shiny finish, but he wanted to kind of make it unique. You know, it's just one of them old clip-fed shotguns, 2 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, 3 rounds. But yeah, turned out real good. Even put a neat butt plate on it. I know it's hard to see because I'm using my phone as a camera, but I think everybody kind of gets the idea. So there's that one. Let's see, we got another one here. This is a Mauser. Pretty much the same principle on this one. Jeweled the bolt on it. Put a high polish on the blue and high polish on the wood. Now the scope I didn't do any work to. I just cleaned it up. It's an old Weaver, I believe, made out of steel, not aluminum. So I just cleaned the rust off of it. Put a little cold blue on it to kind of clean it up a little bit. Of course, you can't blue, you know, a scope in the bluing tank, especially if it's aluminum. But even a steel one, you wouldn't want to drop it in the bluing tanks. Of course, obviously it would mess it up. But anyway, turned out real good. I think everybody can kind of see that. I apologize for the being kind of dark in here. Just kind of working with what we got here, but I think everybody kind of gets the picture on all that. We'll kind of shift gears a little bit here. This is a standard finish. Now, it's not as shiny as a high polish. Let the light catch that for you. Got a standard finish on the wood, not real shiny, not real dull. Got a little oil on it. But I think everybody kind of gets the idea here. I think I've made videos in the past kind of explaining that. Had to reattach the rib on this one. It was an aluminum rib, and of course, you know, took it off, blued it. After I got it all polished, and I reattached it. Old Stevens. Really nice old shotgun. Powder coated the trigger guard because all that's aluminum. Yeah. Here's one here that's a matte finish. And you can see it's just like a bead blasted finish. You know, polished all the bad places out of it. And then I just sandblasted it real good and cleaned it and then blued it. Got a little oil on it. So when you wipe that oil off, it's actually a little duller, about like a Parkerized look. So anyway, it kind of gives you an idea, you know, how that's done. Of course, them are ready as well. You know, I try to make these videos interesting and try to put as much information out there as I can, you know, how I do things. So anyway, I guess what we'll do now is we'll go back into the shop and start working on that stock again, stock and form for the double barrel. It's kind of the star of the show here. And we'll just keep chipping away at that till we get that one done. Okay, here we are in the stock room. I went on ahead and put a, what I did is I took some of that polyurethane and stain that's mixed, and I went on ahead and sprayed a coat of that on there. Kind of blended it in real good. You can kind of see the line there where that new wood joins the old, but I think what I'm going to do is put a few more coats of that on there, kind of darken it up with that spray gun in that area. Then after I get the tone that I want, I'll probably, you know, buff it down with a 00 steel wool and start putting more true oil on it until I get it really smooth to the touch, get the color I want on it. And then we'll put a high gloss polyurethane over the whole thing, let it set up, and then we'll polish it. Give it a really shiny look. But yes, it's kind of blending in really good. So yeah, we're getting there. Just want to kind of give everybody a little update on that. There we are so far. Right, another quick update on our stock. I hadn't put the spray on the form yet. Now what I did do is I went over it with that polyurethane / stain because I wanted to kind of darken it in a little bit. And then after it dried real good, I put some high gloss polyurethane over it, and it shined up real nice. Of course, you'll always probably be able to see that, but it's blended in a whole lot better than it was. So what I'll do is I'll let that fully cure, and then I'm going to polish it with a polishing wheel, and that ought to really make it shine. But yeah, you can still see that. not as bad as it was. I haven't put the real shiny spray on this one yet. Just kind of wanted to make sure I had the tone pretty much the same. But there we are so far. Like I said, you know, where I put them little diamonds in there. It's a pressed in checkering, and right at this center here was really light when they pressed it in. So I wanted to be careful not to fill in the little diamonds. You know, of course, like I said, it's one thing about that pressed in checkering, it's going to be light in spots for some crazy reason. But anyway, there we are so far. It's probably the best we're going to get. Of course, once we polish that down with that polishing wheel, it'll make it a little more shiny and a little more smoother. Then I'm going to spray this right here, you know. Took the tape off because I wanted to make sure when I sprayed that stained polyurethane on there that I didn't have the checkering lighter than the wood. I wanted it to kind of pretty much even out. Like I said, I wish I could have made that disappear a little bit better, but it kind of is what it is. But hey, at least now it's serviceable, and it looks nice, and it's going to look even better once we get that polishing wheel on it. But there we are so far. I didn't show myself spraying that stain on there because I didn't want to bore you with all that. But yeah, basically that's what I did is I just took and sprayed that polyurethane / stain on there and let that dry real good, and then kind of buffed over it, smoothed it up real nice. And then I sprayed the high gloss polyurethane over it, and that sealed it. So yeah, I think it's going to look really good when we put it on that double barrel shotgun. So there we are so far. Go ahead and give you this information here. This is what I used. Of course, you know, it's hard to get this stuff in a aerosol can anymore. I guess I could probably order it, but what I did is I just took and, you know, mixed it up real nice, made sure everything's good and mixed up, and poured a little bit of that in my spray gun, and I just sprayed it over. Basically like the way I understand it the factory does. When you're dealing with birch wood, you basically just have to get a see-through paint, I guess, where you can see the grain of the wood, but yet it just kind of tones everything in, you know, to make it look like, you know, walnut. But that's what I used on it. It's an antique walnut. And I'll do the form the same way, and of course it'll have that same tone once I get this spray on it. But this is, I've done put this on it, so I won't put this on it no more. I'll use the clear polyurethane, you know, like I did the stock. But yeah, that's what I used. just put it in my spray gun, sprayed over it real nice, let it set up, buffed over it with 00 steel wool, and then I put the high gloss over that. Of course, the more you put on it, the darker it's going to get. I didn't want to make it look like, you know, it was painted with brown paint. We wanted to make sure that we had the integrity of the grain of the wood shining through. So I think that's going to work out real good. But I just wanted to kind of point that out and show everybody what I used on it. That's what I used on it right there to kind of tone it down. When dealing with birch wood, it gets kind of difficult sometimes, especially when you add a new piece to that. It ain't like walnut where, you know, it blends in pretty good. When you're dealing with birch, especially a big piece like that, it's really hard to make it totally go away. But anyway, it does look a whole lot better, and I believe that's going to look real nice when we get it on this gun. I think the customer will really be pleased with it. So anyway, there's a little update on what I did put on it to kind of tone the color in even. Alright, here we are in the polishing room. And what I thought I'd do, and I went on ahead and polished on this a little bit, but I thought I'd kind of go over this, kind of show people how I would polish that out. And what we're looking to do here is to get those little orange peels out of it, which that spray gun sprayed it on there really smooth. So anyway, basically what you want to do is definitely pay close attention to everything you're doing, because you don't want to bump it or any of that, because you don't want to, you know, mess it up and then have to go back and redo it. So yeah, focus is the key here. Make sure that little hook don't catch that and pull it out of your hand. So you want to just really be aware of the whole surrounding here. I got the fan off where you can hear me. I got some 555 polishing old ray from Brian Owens with a loose muslin wheel here, and just basically just use good common sense. Being careful not to hit the machine or anything with it. You just want to go real slow. And again, I done went over it once, so it's pretty smooth now. And it was pretty smooth even before I went over it. But this right here really fine-tune it. And you don't want to hold the wheel down real tight. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on it, I guess is what I'm trying to say is, because you don't want to melt the finish, because it is a polyurethane. And basically what you want to do is just want to keep going over it real light. And you want to take your paper towel, kind of wipe it. I know you can't see it, but and then just kind of look at it in the light. You don't want to over polish it, and over polishing you'll start seeing dull spots in it because you done took the finish off in them areas. And around these corners here, you want to just barely touch them. Nobody can tell them anyway because you're going to have a recoil pad on that. But what will happen is you can sure tell when you take the finish off, because it'll be whiter looking or lighter looking in that area. But just the corners and stuff like that, you just really want to focus on. Done went over this end up here and everything. So yeah, everything all in all looks really good. Everybody can kind of get an idea how that looks. What I'll do is I'll just cut the camera off and I'll go ahead and finish it up, and I may even go ahead and put it on the gun. I don't have the forearm ready yet, but that'd be step 2. Kind of show you the progress as we go. But yeah, it's turned out really nice, really smooth. Right up here in this area here where we joined the new piece of wood. I mean, you can still tell it's there, but it's in a light. Definitely looks a lot better, obviously. I'll just go ahead and finish polishing it up, maybe put it on the gun, show what it looks like so far, and when we get the forearm done, obviously we'll be done with it. But there we are so far. Like I said, the main thing is just making sure you don't get too aggressive with this polishing wheel here. That's why I like to use a good spray gun. it'll produce a nice smooth spray. The smoother it is, the less you have to polish it with a wheel. All right, here is the finished product. Give everybody a good look at that. There's the repaired side there. You can still see that. I mean, we knew we'd probably be able to spot that. Let me put this little tip in. When you're sanding on a curve like that, and you've got a piece of wood, you know, put on that like we did that, the more you sand that, the wider that alkaglass line is going to get because it's on that curve. Just thought I'd throw that little bit of information in with that. But yeah, we kind of expected that, but all in all, it blended in pretty decent. You'll always be able to see that like we thought it would. The bigger the piece, the more you're able to spot that. But all in all, I believe it turned out pretty good. At least now it's serviceable again, and it was serviceable before, but at least now we got some more wood up there to kind of strengthen things. Got a really good finish on that. Yeah, I believe Mr. Brian Owens to be happy with that. He will be in later to pick it up. We'll get his opinion on it. But there is the finished product. Turned out really good. All right, folks, here is the proud owner of the double barrel shotgun, Mr. Brian Owens.
Yes, sir.
Brian, what do you think about it?
I think it's stunning. I don't think it looked this nice when it was brand new.
Oh, well, you know, it was just had that broken piece in it. It was still serviceable, you know. I'm just thankful we were able to get that on. And you can still notice that a little bit, but we knew that's the way that was going to be.
Exactly.
But, yeah, man, just kind of wanted to include you in the video since it's kind of about your shotgun here. And
yes, sir.
And tell us about it. Now, that was a gift from your dad. He passed away? Or
well,
something
actually,
like
yeah, it was my father's shotgun that he bought new in 1970.
Oh, wow.
And it was his only shotgun for many, many, many years. And both my brother and I learned how to shoot with it.
Right.
And did a lot of trap shooting. This thing has had 1 million rounds put through it between my father and my brother and I. And my father passed away in 2012.
Oh, wow.
And obviously saw the condition of the shotgun when I had it down here, and it needed some help. And I knew you were just the guy to get it done.
Well, I appreciate you letting me do that for you. Tell us how the piece got broke.
You know, I don't know. We did a lot of pheasant hunting out in South Dakota, and it was in and out of the truck and cases and things, and just getting knocked around. And I don't recall him dropping it or anything else, but it got broke off along the line somewhere.
Well, we got it fixed back on there now, so at least we got a patch on it, so it looks good.
Very
and
nice. Yes,
heck
sir.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you letting me do that for you.
Yeah.
So
the work is just fantastic.
Cool, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, all right. Well, all right then. Well, there's Mr. Brian Owens. He's satisfied with it, and I appreciate him letting me do that. And so anyway, we'll conclude this video. And as always, I appreciate everybody watching the videos.